Some people use these hedge apples to keep bugs out of their basement. I think they're a lot more fun to shoot. Hi, this is Ethan with Standing Stone Kennels, and I'm here to answer your questions. We got a question sent in from Brian today about our EasyLead. When can I use the EasyLead to start teaching my dog? Or how young, rather, can I start using the EasyLead to teach my dog to heel? It's a great question, and it's one that quite a few people have, actually. So there's a couple things that you need to look at. One of which is it's important that your dog is bold and confident and comfortable hunting in the field before we start working on too much heeling and too much obedience. The more emphasis, basically, that we put on our dog walking right by our side, the less likely they are to, or the more likely they are, for that matter, to want to stick to us in the field. And as we are developing bird dogs, it's going to be important for them to be able to range away from us. Now, if you have a dog that's bold and confident in the field and they're 12 weeks old or 16 weeks old, start working on some heeling work. That's going to be great, and the EasyLead's a really easy way to do that. Now, like anything in training, if you put too much emphasis on any one thing and it becomes more or less a default, that's going to be a problem. So if you are doing heeling sessions constantly, every morning, every evening, all the time you're doing these heeling sessions, and the dog's not getting enough opportunity off leash to range and build confidence and independence, then you're going to end up with a problem. The same thing can happen with sit, or just putting too much emphasis on the dog coming when you call and not letting them range. All of those things can become defaults and prevent the dog from expanding or causing them to revert to something else, like sitting when they're not necessarily comfortable with what you're asking. So, great question. I hope this answers it for you.
Hi, Kat from Standing Stone Kennels, and we have a rainy day here, so I decided that it would be a great opportunity to do a video response to a question we had from Steven about running a young puppy. He's got a 5-month-old puppy right now with his older, more seasoned dog that's 10 years old. And that's a really great question, one that we get once in a while, as well as we have a lot of experience with running young puppies with older dogs. So first of all, you want to make sure that your puppy is ready for the field, proper burning gunfire introduction, solid recall with the collar, so that when you do take them out, you don't have any issues that way. But then you just want to take them out, see how the two dogs do together. If the young puppy's not getting a lot of opportunities to point or make retrieves and getting beat and overshadowed a little bit by that older dog, then you would want to pull them out and hunt them separately so that your puppy doesn't get discouraged. Another thing that we've actually had happen with our puppy Muddy, who she's not quite a puppy anymore, but her first season we were taking her out, letting her hunt with some of our older dogs, and she was having a ton of fun chasing and barking at the other dogs, but not actually hunting. So we had to work her by herself so she could learn how to get out there and hunt and find birds and not necessarily just chase and play with the other dogs. But we've also had other dogs, like we had a puppy Maggie at one point in time that we took her out at 5 months old hunting with her mama. And she did a great job. She was actually backing her mom, getting to make retrieves, finding her own birds. So definitely it's something that you're gonna have to evaluate on a one-on-one dog individual basis, but it's definitely something that your puppy can learn a lot from a seasoned dog. So don't hesitate to take them out if they're ready for it.
All right, guys, this next question comes out from John. He had several questions, but we're going to be able to touch on one that he had here at the beginning really easily. He asked what the philosophy was. When are we using the e-collar? When are we adding that into our training session? And I think it's a great question. It's something that probably a lot of people have, and we're going to break this down into a couple steps here on how we're actually teaching dogs. We use positive reinforcement in training. Once the dog has a solid understanding of what we're asking using positive reinforcement, they're exhibiting the behavior on a regular basis, then we introduce the cue. That cue is going to be what we're asking the dog to do: sit, or come, or heel, or whoa. All of those are going to be our cues. Once the dog has then the ability to respond to that cue and is showing they firmly understand what we're asking, then we start using the e-collar to build consistency. and to build consistency in more distracted situations. And we show that in a lot of our videos. We've got a puppy that's coming to us, a puppy that's placing. All of those things then we use vibrate on the collar to overlay that with the dog. So it's a awesome way to build through repetition and then at the end have a dog that's a little more consistent, especially with as independent as a lot of our dogs can be.
Hey, we had another question from Tim asking about getting his puppy ready for some blood tracking and shed hunting as well as upland hunting. And he was wondering if one dog can do multiple things or is it too much to ask of them. It sounds like his puppy's pretty young, 3 months old right now, so my recommendation would be to focus on one particular thing, the thing that you want to prioritize and work the most on. And then once your dog has a full understanding of that behavior, that's when you can start introducing one of the other types of things that you're interested in doing with them, whether that's shed hunting, blood trailing, waterfowl hunting. But you want to make sure that there's a distinction between the types of hunting and the types of training you're doing. Otherwise, if you try and do it all at once, there's definitely the chance for some confusion. For example, with Nix, the dog that was in the video that you were watching, he went through all of his upland hunting and then waterfowl hunting, and then we were like, okay, what else can we do with you, buddy? Well, let's introduce you to blood trailing. So he completely had a full 100% understanding of upland hunting as well as waterfowl training and hunting before we even introduced and started blood trailing. He'd had multiple seasons of wild birds, and then we decided, hey, let's also introduce the blood trailing. We haven't done any shed hunting with him, but that's definitely something that he would be 100% able to do. So that was an excellent question. It also sounds like your puppy's pretty young, so don't overwhelm them with too much all at once. And then you also had a question about the type of material that we were using on the long line that we were using with Nix, and it's actually a product that we sell. It's our check cord. It's available on our online store, but it is a poly-coated nylon cord. So check that out, and we'll be happy to answer any other of your questions. Thanks.
All right, guys, we've got one more question here about clicker training. The question was from Jeannie. She asked, when do we get rid of the clicker, or do we ever get rid of a clicker? The answer to that is yes, we do get rid of the clicker, and timing is all based on your dog. If you are teaching your dog something new, we like to incorporate the clicker in that because that marker, or using the clicker to mark behaviors, is going to be a drastically faster way to teach them. As long as you're teaching something new, incorporate that clicker into training. Thanks for the question. If you guys have questions like this, don't hesitate to reach out to us, ask the questions, or take a look at our online training community through Patreon, where we have the platform set up specifically for Q&As just like this, as well as being able to give video responses on exactly what kind of training session that we would recommend for your questions. Thanks.